Here we go.
Coming to you from the Hollywood foothills of North Carolina, one of the few places that Michael Bay has not blew up in a Transformers film yet. It is the Confirmed Epic Podcast, the official podcast of the epicreview.com. I, of course, am the real Brad Bell, and joining me today, as always, is
Jerry Reed, also known as Barbecue 17.
And as always, it seems like from now on,
Andrew Stokes, also known as Andrew Stokes.
All right, guys, this is episode 32. We're going to follow the usual format. We're going to talk about what we've been checking out. Then we'll talk about some epic news. And then we'll get into as much as possible an in-depth review of Michael Bay's Transformers Age of Extinction, the fourth installment in this sure-to-be-remembered epic saga. So, guys, remember to like us on Facebook. We want to remind you of that, facebook.com/THEpicReview. Follow us on Twitter at THEpicReview. And, of course, you can always email us, thepicreview@gmail.com. We'd love to read some listener questions. If you want older episodes of the podcast that, for whatever reason, cannot be archived, email us. We'll get that to you. Also, you can donate on the right side of the webpage so we can archive more of those past episodes for you. So let's get into it.
Check checklist? Check. Double check checking of checklist? Check.
Jerry Reed, what have you been checking out this week?
All right. One of the things that I've been checking out this week really kind of hit something that's been interesting me right now. You guys are probably familiar with Funko. I think I've talked about Funko before.
Yes.
Really famous for doing those figures that are called Pop. They're little vinyl guys. Funko's been doing these for quite a few years now, and they capture like every property you can imagine. I mean, I think this summer they've got, Game of Thrones, they've got, all the Marvel films, Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, they've also been doing a series of 6-inch figures that are, more detailed, really pretty nice stuff. They've done Game of Thrones so far. They're working on Magic the Gathering. But they've started doing as well a new line that's called Reaction, which are very similar to the old, 5-point of articulation figures from Kenner. Think like the original Star Wars figures, Clash of the Titans, some of the older stuff. And so they're doing all of these different lines that are coming out right now. Universal Monsters, Pulp Fiction. They've got a collection of modern movie characters from horror films.
Yeah, Back to the Future.
Yeah, Back to the Future, Jason, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface from Scream, Sam from Trick or Treat. Well, I'm really starting to really like that style. I like that. I liked the original Star Wars figures, and so this is kind of a neat throwback.
What draws you to that? I'm just curious.
So that's a question that's popped up, is that if you grew up with these, it's kind of like almost a time machine kind of aesthetic to them.
That figures you couldn't get.
It's almost like looking at something saying, "Gosh, imagine if this had happened." And there's something just so fun about them that I collect modern action figures. I love the sculpting, I love the articulation, the detail accessories. But there's something about it, like a really cool minimalist style that says like, "Oh man, think about trying to take the essence of a character and turn it into something that's like truly a plaything from a certain point in time."
When Funko announced these, was it last year, San Diego Comic-Con, they revealed a lot of these. I remember talking to you about them, and I was thinking, I like them, they're cool, I see what they're going for here. But from a collector's standpoint, and I'm not probably going to get in on this line, but I started to think, to display these, this is almost something that I would really want to keep in the box.
So, everybody knows I don't keep toys in the box.
Absolutely
ever.
not.
So I just bought the Rocketeer at Heroes Con last weekend. And so what I did was I actually cut the blister very carefully so that I can slip the figure out of the package and put it back in, and it still preserves that on-card aesthetic. But what is really tied into this right now for me is I'm going to pull up some pictures for you guys. And, of course, I just did an interview with the team the other day. But there is a new line that's out on Kickstarter that's called Legends of Cthulhu. If you're familiar with the H.P. Lovecraft stories, probably one of the greatest, most influential horror writers of all time. This imagines that in probably 1979 or 1980, there was a toy line, a cartoon, all this stuff for a line that was called Legends of Cthulhu that was based on H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos. So if you take a look at these, this is from
this on the site.
It's a new company called Warpo Toys, and
they like Darth Sidious a little bit.
They really have captured the look of the old Kenner figures and all the other cool stuff that went along with toy lines of the early 80s era.
It's almost like that era meets new era because the sculpting on these is a little bit more detailed than something compared to the reaction line. I think that's just my opinion from looking at it.
I think it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit of each. So I feel like they would fit in well. But I mean, check out they've got T-shirts, that look like a late 70s, early 80s T-shirt. I love the coloring book because back then, I had coloring books from so many random. I had an Inhumanoids coloring book, I had a Centurions coloring book, so it's really cool. And they've got some a big plastic cup, because back in the 80s, you got plastic cups of all kinds of things.
A VHS tape
of a commercial. They did a really cool commercial. You can find it on their Kickstarter page. But this is just a really neat campaign, and they're on their way. They've already got funded within the first day. And so they're on their way to the next stretch goal is at $140,000, and it's an action figure of H.P. Lovecraft himself, which I'm a huge Lovecraft fan, so I'm super excited about this. I've already pitched in. If they get to $200,000, it's going to be a giant 12-inch Cthulhu. So I really, really, really want this. They've got about 9 days left, and they're at $113,000. Kickstarter stuff just kind of takes a while sometimes. That last couple days can really be pretty huge. So I am super pumped about this and, definitely ready for this. Oh my gosh.
Just started.
And, talking about another Kickstarter project, but Andrew just showed me Zombicide Season 3 is listed.
I just realized it just started 5 minutes ago, maybe.
So one, I wanted to point out the Legends of Cthulhu line. If you like the retro Kenner figures, if you're a horror fan, or if you really just like funding these Kickstarter projects, Kickstarter is just the best thing right now because they're able to bypass all the stuff we hear. Problems with retailers, problems with, finding people to actually carry the line. They're really cutting out the middleman on so much of this stuff. And I think getting us toys and games that we really, that people really want. Getting us something that's different than, the exact same licensed stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah, Kickstarter is the wave of the future as far as funding projects, and it's been fun to see a lot of things that would have never got created or made be funded and be distributed to the masses because of that. Do you guys, obviously, they're geeking out over here because the Zombicide Season 3 has just debuted.
Normally they do early pledge levels on here. That's why I wanted to check real quick.
Yeah.
See if there's any of those actually left.
Well, I'm signed in, so I'm going to pledge real quick for the biggest one I can. All right, so I actually went ahead and just backed Zombicide Season 3. This started a couple minutes ago.
Yeah. I just realized what time it was, and I knew it was launching today.
They already have 945 backers.
Mm-hmm. How much money?
$131,000.
And this is on Sunday, June 29th at 3:12 Eastern time.
Yeah. So, think about...
The last one made, over $2 million?
Yeah. I love this with Kickstarter stuff because people can... you can truly get stuff right to fans. You don't have to deal with what we always hear. If you're reading interviews with even toy companies that are sometimes fan friendly, you hear people say,
Playmates. I'm just kidding.
No, Playmates to some extent. They really communicate with the Technodrome forums board a lot of people in there have some good relationship with people there. Mattel sometimes has a lot of contact. Yeah. But you always hear people say, we couldn't do this, we couldn't sell it at retail. Kickstarter just cuts that junk out.
Some of it I like, but then there's Zombicide Season 2 that I backed. It had some issues, and one of the things I didn't care for too much. I understand it, but people who didn't back it were able to purchase it before backers got their copies of the game.
Okay, so that's...
And there was also problems with some of the later characters that were released that they didn't send out corrected cards for.
Yeah.
You can get them for free if you back Season 3, even if you back it for $1, I believe. They'll send you the corrected cards for free.
Yeah.
But, for free, quotation marks. But, I mean, I don't know. Also, if you backed it last season, which unfortunately, Jerry, you backed through me, so you don't get this, but I think last season's backers get a $10 credit towards this one, so that's an extra character down the line.
So
I'm grateful for Kickstarter, but my only issue with it is people who use it who are established, well-known people.
Right. Well, that's one of the things with Zombicide, too. They were going to release the last Zombicide game. They're going to release this game regardless.
Exactly.
You can get some really cool promos and stuff. I'm not going to, I don't know. It's some of the things, I don't know, there's just also, if you fund a movie, if you say, this guy's trying to make a movie and you want to fund him, this guy makes a movie, they made the Veronica Mars through Kickstarter or whatever. But if you were to fund one through the normal channels, the people that funded it, they're getting some money back. They own part of that movie. They've invested in that. And Kickstarter is a little different. You know what I mean?
You're probably getting a poster or invite to a screening.
Now, for something that may not exist or something that's cool, and they're not asking for as much from you, so there's not as much risk on your part. But I mean, I don't know. It depends on this project specifically. There are some projects, and there's another Xia, X-I-A, Legends of a Drift System, I believe it's called. It's like a spaceship board game that was released on Kickstarter. And that was this guy, just didn't. He was an indie board game developer. He didn't have the capital to just put this game out there, and Kickstarter was a way to allow him to do that. And he was so open with the fans. I wish I could remember the guy's name. I don't think the game's quite released yet. I think it shipped to backers already. I didn't back it, unfortunately. But I mean, stuff like that. I mean, there's really. I like this kind of helping the indie market because that could really help any market having these out. I mean, that's really helped the video game market. I feel like. But yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
And one thing I know that they just backed the podcast I listen to, A Cast of Kings, that David Shin does. They backed that of /film.com on Kickstarter. But I like the way they approach that. He and his co-host, the lady Joanna Robinson, works for Vanity Fair, so they're pretty two well-known, established people within the film community. But what they do is they each send out one tweet each on their personal Twitters. And they may make one post on /film.com, but they're not constantly back our Kickstarter. They know it's going to happen. They know they're established. So, I mean, when you're subtle in it, I don't have a problem with you being an established person using
Reading Rainbow. I mean, they just have that huge. It's still going on.
It's still going on.
There's a week left at the time of recording this.
I think Seth MacFarlane just pledged $1 million towards it or something.
Yeah, he's going to match $1 for $1 for this last week. He's going to match $1 for $1 up
so
to $1 million.
Tell the listeners, I'm not familiar with this. There's a Reading Rainbow Kickstarter.
You really didn't hear about this?
No.
You didn't.
No, go ahead. Tell
huge news.
Yeah,
wow.
well, I mean, it's been.
Cool.
I mean, it's almost over. But I mean, LeVar Burton wanted to bring back Reading Rainbow, so he launched a Kickstarter. I mean, it's already made a crazy amount of money. It's still making money. He's trying to create new episodes. He's trying to create web content.
So that every kid can have access to it.
So kids can have access to it. He's also trying to use this to kind of subsidize costs. He wants to put it in the classroom, and he wants to be able to, for poorer districts, to be able to have Reading Rainbow for free in their classroom and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
We all grew up on Reading Rainbow.
Oh, yeah,
definitely. So
yeah, I love Reading Rainbow.
It's the fabric of the American education system. Yeah. So why not continue that tradition?
It allowed me to fly twice as high. So
all right, so now we're
going to announce our Kickstarter for the Confirmed Epic podcast.
Maybe one day we will kickstart something on the Confirmed Epic podcast. Either, we've talked about a few spin-off podcasts we might do. It's all speculation at this point. But once we settle some things in our personal lives, we may seriously think about doing a Kickstarter for one of these spin-off podcasts. I have
no personal life, so nothing to settle. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, he's ready to go. So that Kickstarter will be up tonight. I'm just kidding, joking.
For our Leftovers podcast.
Yes. So Let's talk about something we all checked out last weekend. I wasn't going to bring this up, but I figured why not. Let's talk about Heroes Con 2014 in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Let's talk about it.
Best Heroes Con ever.
It was my worst Heroes Con, but a great
It was a mediocre
moment.
one for me. There was a lot of good... All right, well... We want to start with the best or the worst? What are we going to start
Well,
with?
the best was...
Let's start with the worst. It's not
Let's
much
say,
to
what did you go to HeroCon for? I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
So let's start with Brad. Brad, what did you go to HeroCon for?
The main reason I went was to meet Kevin Eastman this year, which I accomplished. It was my whole HeroCon in line, and I hate that I had to give up looking through vendor stuff, meeting some other smaller creators to do that. But waiting in line to meet Kevin Eastman, co-creator of the Ninja Turtles, a property that I've loved since a kid, has endured with me until Michael Bay destroys that in a couple weeks. But I got to meet Kevin Eastman, and not only did he just sign and like go on, and he was late to his panel so he could finish everybody in line, the signing. And he was just the nicest guy you will ever meet. Very cordial to his fans. He thanked me for buying his work and enjoying this property that he and Peter Laird created. And he signed a TMNT Mondo poster for me. And he was signing 2 items for free. Was not charging at all.
That's cool.
Unlike Neil Adams, who charged $10 last year, or Stan Lee, who charged $55.
I know.
And
I can understand that to a degree, though.
he signed something for Jerry, too.
Yes, he did. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to get signed, and Brad very nicely got it signed for me
So he could enjoy the con.
So I could enjoy it.
How much did you pay Brad to do this?
No, it's friendship.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, friendship.
Friendship's magic.
And
So
magic costs money.
Brad and I are bronies. Just kidding. So,
Tell him what you got signed, Jerry.
I got signed the little purple base that came with the original Ninja Turtles Flush-O-Matic toy.
Right.
Which was this like a little toilet that Shredder sat on, and you put ooze in the bowl, and then you pulled it, and it's like basically Shredder was taking a ooze dump on the turtles.
I remember a lot of the turtle toys, and I had a ton of them, but I cannot recall this toy.
I had the base, I got the base signed, so I now have the base of that toy with signed Kevin Eastman with a little turtle drawn on it. Which
that's
is very
cool. He sketches a little turtle with every signature.
It's pretty
so
awesome.
that was what took a while too.
I brought my little pet turtle and had him sign the shell of it.
So you went specifically for an autograph, though. I mean, that was kind of your...
I was figuring I would get there and it would be a 2-hour wait.
Yeah.
And it was just, Turtles is huge. It's always been big, but it's huge again.
Sure.
With the new movie, the IDW comic, the
cartoon.
the Nick cartoon. There were people like us, 27 to 35 years old. Then there were people who were 5 years old.
They were
waiting in line. So it was pretty cool to see that.
Very huge, diverse fan base.
So those kids would have stood in line for a person dressed up as Michelangelo as well. So.
Yeah, why couldn't he have been there like a Michelangelo in person?
Oh, that'd be great. Well, there was a lot of turtles. I mean, that wasn't so much turtle cosplay, but there were a lot of people with turtles.
I saw a really good Casey Jones.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, so I went specifically pretty much to cosplay.
Right. You cosplayed as,
So I was
Jerry.
Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Who?
Star-Lord, man. Come on, Legendary Outlaw.
Never heard
Which
of
I didn't, I did not do that 50 times a day.
What an a-hole.
Yeah. So I went as Star-Lord and really just, had a great time. Took pictures with people that were in costume. People just pull me aside and take pictures with me. So I had a lot of fun. My wife and our daughter, were in costumes as Rarity and Spite from My Little Pony. They had a group of friends that were all in costumes as well as the main. Well, they were the main 5 from My Little Pony. Applejack flaked out on us, I think. So
this is the 32nd Heroes Con, and for anybody who hasn't,
it's the 32nd podcast too.
Yeah. Anybody who hasn't been, this is my 9th year going. And it's just a great 9th year in a row. It's a great con to go to. The vendors have kind of taken a step back, but it's been in a good way for creators, and it's a big cosplay convention now. And just usually a place where you can go and interact with, Brian Michael Bendis for 3 minutes, ask him about storylines, go and hear some panels. So it is really, they kind of keep the Hollywood TV portion out of it, which stinks kind of because you'll never get like Jason David Frank there, who goes to like every convention now.
Johnny Fairplay was there once.
Mick
Foley was there.
But I think here's the thing: is when you get that stuff in, that's when everybody else has to back out.
Yeah.
You know, to a big extent. I mean, if you talk to some people about, San Diego Comic-Con, you're going to find the comic book stuff there, but then you also hear stories about people waiting hours and hours and hours because all the focus is on like a panel for the next Marvel film or another movie coming out, that it really does change the dynamic of it.
But it's almost gotten to where HeroCon, when I first started going, of course I didn't know as much about creators then, but you could go and I could kind of get my fulfillment out of it in one day.
Yeah.
Whereas now I really could. I didn't, but I could go all 3 days and kind of take everything in. So it's grown tremendously.
Yeah, that would be next year. I would definitely love to at least do Friday and Saturday.
But it was good. You know, it's seldom. We always have a mix and match, but this is one year that Jerry, Andrew, and I all got to go, even though we didn't get to hang out. So that was pretty cool. So, yeah, check it out. You know, book reservations for next year. It's mid-June next year at the Charlotte Convention Center.
And you kind of went to just look at comics, look around.
The reason I go is I try to, and a lot of people, especially on like older issues. I mean, obviously not like old issues, but I mean older issues of comics, singles, and trade paperbacks and stuff. There's normally a lot of good deals on, and there's like there's collectibles and that kind of stuff,
which are usually marked up.
Right.
Yeah,
well, some stuff's really pricey.
Yeah. But I mean, I didn't find that much this year. Normally, I find I come away. I set myself a budget. I bought nothing.
Yes. I didn't buy nearly as much as I
Andrew and I set a
though.
budget. We brought X amount of money, so this is all we're going to spend. And other to walk in the door, this is the first Andrew nor I spent a dime at Heroes.
Right. There was there was a couple things I could have bought. But I was specifically going for a few things. I was trying to find some Young Justice graphic novels. You hear me, guys? Young Justice graphic novels. I hear you. Because, it's a great thing. I was also trying to find, like, some Ultimate Comics. That's how I read comics. Typically, it's through the trade paperbacks. Didn't really find anything. But I will say, this year, I didn't go last year. I went a couple years ago when Stan Lee was there. There's a lot more cosplayers there.
It's changed.
It's changed. It's good. It's a great atmosphere. And even though I went there, I don't think I met a single artist or anybody, honestly. I just walked around, talked to my friends. I had you guys there. I brought somebody there. I had some other friends there. It was really fun.
They had Mark Waid there. They had Jim Starlin, the creator of Thanos, there. They had James Tynan IV, who's doing Batman Eternal, was there. So, I mean,
Peter Dinklage was there.
No, Peter Dinklage
just couldn't see him.
wasn't there. No. All right, but let's move on from Heroes Con. Andrew, you've been checking some pretty cool stuff out this week. What have you been checking out, Andrew?
Well, I would love to say that I've been checking out Season 3 of The Legend of Korra. However, my nephew's out of town right now, and I promised him I would wait until he came back to watch it. I just wanted to mention that. The Legend of Korra Season 3 has officially started. Last week, I think, or yesterday, as of this recording, they showed 3 episodes, I believe, and they're not going to have anything next week because of the holiday. But I was excited about that. I can't wait to actually watch it. What I've actually been checking out, though, is since we last recorded, I've played a fair amount of new board games. I went to like a board game meetup where I've got to play some new games. One of them I actually liked so much I bought, which was Bang the Dice game, which might be a game I've seen. I saw it in Walmart before. And it just kind of looked like a kind of a cheap dice game. I was like, I wasn't that interested in it. I played that game, and it's fantastic. It's kind of has like a Yahtzee or King of Tokyo feel. You're rolling die and re-rolling die and trying to get sets and matching sets and stuff. But there's also the aspect of everybody has these hidden roles. And, people are either trying to kill the sheriff of the town, or they're trying to kill the outlaws, or they're trying to kill both.
Kind of like a mafia or
like
werewolf type of
resistance,
vibe.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, I've played games.
It's got a Western theme to it, which is really cool as well. You don't see a lot of Western themed games.
No.
And I love the VHS tape it comes with.
Oh,
you can watch it.
It's a community reference.
Okay. Yeah.
But this game, I've played some I played some games of this. It took like 5 minutes. We played some where it was maybe closer to 20 minutes. But I mean, it's a short game. Yeah. You could play.
Moves really fast.
It moves really fast, especially once you learn the rules, which are really simple. You're just matching die and going on. I mean, there's a lot of luck involved with it. And there's only so much you can do. But I mean, for a quick little game, and especially you can play up to 8, it's a fun game. I also checked out. Bang! I also checked out. I checked out Korra, which is a good. It's a tile laying game. It plays up to 4 players, but you can easily play maybe like 5 or 6. But you don't want to play too many, or it's just be hard. But it's a game. It's kind of like laying things down like Scrabble, but instead of making words, you're just matching shapes and colors. A really simple game.
Scrabble for people who can't spell.
But for me, I'm horrible at word games. Love Korra. It's really fun. And then I also am playing, and we actually, all 3 of us just played this before the podcast, Takenoko.
I liked Takenoko.
Takenoko, some people may look at it and say, it has an anime aesthetic. Not for me. Some of the colors, it looks kind of girly. It really does. But it's great wooden pieces. It just looks good. The painting, it comes with 2 miniatures.
The miniatures are really nice.
They're really well
Paint quality
made.
is better than on like a Hero Click or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. And it's just a fun, it's a type of game where you're trying to build a garden and also grow bamboo in this garden while a panda's going around eating the bamboo.
Something about the aesthetic of it reminds me of Settlers of Catan. But also with Carcassonne, how you're scoring multiple different things.
Well, for me, it really added a new dimension to the DreamWorks Kung Fu Panda franchise. So that was pretty cool. Oh, no, it wasn't a Kung Fu
Glad you got
Panda.
that joke in there.
Okay, no. I looked at this game they tried to get me to play after Transformers Age of Extinction, which I was exhausted.
Yeah, we watched that and Anchorman 2 last night.
Yeah, but I said, no, I kind of judged the book by its cover on that when Andrew was talking about the aesthetic of the game. I mean, it was enjoyable. I mean, I'm not a board game person.
We did lie to Brad to get him to play. We told him it had to be 3 players.
So I felt bad, and I showed up here early to play that game with them, and they could have played last night, but it's all good. Hey, let's talk about Anchorman 2 for a minute, because Andrew, you love the first Anchorman.
I love Anchorman.
One of your all-time favorite movies. And Andrew was stoked for the new one that came out.
I was so stoked for Anchorman 2. I didn't watch it in theaters.
Yes.
And waited until June 20 whatever.
And I didn't get this because Andrew is this huge Anchorman.
I'm a huge Anchorman fan. Huge Anchorman fan.
And then did not go see the sequel.
At that point, when this movie came out, I didn't like to go to the theater by myself. I've kind of changed my tune in the short time since then. But I didn't like to go to the theater myself. I had a lot of friends that wanted to watch this movie, but between work and school and
it came out pretty close to Christmas as well.
That's a holiday.
And you were supposed to go with your fiance, stuff like that.
We didn't go.
There was just a lot of I just never worked out. I didn't want to go by myself. I was busy at the time too, as myself. And then I don't know. By the time it came out on DVD, I heard mixed things about it. I always planned on watching it. I just never got around to it, honestly.
Well, I have to say, for somebody who didn't enjoy the first one, I really enjoyed this one. I didn't love it. I mean, I'd probably give it a good and a half. Maybe.
I like it better. I saw it in the theater.
Better than the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I like it better than the first one. So, and I saw it in the theater, and then I bought this one on Blu-ray. And
I like it.
I really enjoy it.
If you like the first one, definitely watch this. I like it.
Yeah.
I would even like to own it. I don't think it's better than the first one.
Well, there's a scene where and I'm not going to spoil any of the cameos, because obviously we're not reviewing Anchorman 2, but the scene where they battled the other news stations.
Yeah.
Right.
Just a really epic, just perfect
fun
fight
scene
for that.
Yeah.
A big improvement. I mean, I guess it's a nod to what they did in the original.
Well, that was a little bit. There were definitely some scenes in there that looked like they were just kind of doing what they did in the first one, and they took it to a new level. But I mean, what you call Brian Fantana, he had a hidden compartment of different things. Yeah. Brick had his lines. Brick had a lot of lines in this. And
you were worried about that.
I was afraid Brick was going to come off as just dumb this time around. I thought it was just more of the same. They kind of evolved him a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really good. It was really good.
One of the things I really liked about this one was the way that the first movie is. I mean, it's goofy and silly, and I love it. I mean, I do. I like the first one.
I love
too.
stupid comedy.
So But this one actually had a fair amount of what I would call like a social satire of the development of 24-hour news.
Yeah, that was a good story.
You really could look at this movie and talk about, like, okay, why are we, reflecting on some of these stories that really aren't important news, but we're spending all our time focusing on, the latest celebrity getting arrested, when there's like these major global politics issues,
right.
These major events going on that nobody cares about. It's what's the most entertaining.
That's part really, especially keeping up with celebrity stuff to some degree. I understand. It's cool when some celebrities do certain things, but like I was on. It was MSN. I was on. That's like the homepage of the computers at work, and one of the headlines was, "Guess whose celebrity's beach body this is?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, there's a group taking over Iraq right now.
Yes.
We're sending soldiers back to Baghdad, and it's like, and this is when your headlines.
We're not sending soldiers. We're sending 300 military advisors over there.
Soldiers.
That's how we started Vietnam, right?
Right. I don't. Well, let's not get in the politics.
Right. Just saying, there's important things going on.
Last week today, with that new John Oliver show on HBO, has some fantastic stuff with he was talking about the 300 military advisors. He's like, I pray to God this isn't the next 300 sequel. We're going to go over there and just talk to you guys. All right, we're going to advise. Not any combat, but just advise. And it was hilarious.
It's just my bodyguards.
I thought, and they've, I think Adam McKay and Will Ferrell have come out and said now they're not planning on doing any more sequels to films that they've done. They said they really like doing stuff with a new character.
Yeah.
That this was really the first time they tried to do a sequel to, I think, one of their collaborations. And they were happy with it, but I thought they really evolved this. It wasn't. It didn't feel just like.
No, it wasn't
more
like Hangover 2.
Where it was the exact same thing rehashed.
Right, yeah. There was definitely there was a lot of new elements to it.
But, it is what it is, and I thought there was some really, funny social satire in there that didn't hit you.
Listen, if you like the first one, definitely watch it.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, speaking of funny comedy, I've recently finished a whole series on HBO that I've been watching for a couple of years and finished the
Game
first.
Of Thrones.
No, a different
It's
series.
hilarious.
And finished the first season of a new HBO comedy. So I finished Eastbound and Down, stars Danny McBride as an eccentric kind of ex-sports star, and it's actually set right here in the Hollywood foothills of North Carolina. They literally sit it in Shelby, North Carolina, where we are podcasting now. So that's, I had to check it out just based on that principle.
I haven't seen it yet, but I really want to.
I love it. Is it raunchy? Is it over the top? Is it just, just crazy? Yes, it is.
Typical Danny McBride kind of comedy,
it is.
I feel like.
Yeah, it's Danny McBride just unleashed. Yeah, that's the best way to describe. Like, if you've seen him in This Is the End or Pineapple Express or whatever, it's like, all right, Danny, be this character, just be you, like the worst version of you. And he's already hilarious, and he's an awful person, but it had a real...
In the show, right?
In the show,
okay.
yeah.
Sure.
It's making sure you weren't just like making some kind of statement.
He does it with Jody Hill, who directs this show, who he kind of broke Danny McBride onto the scene with this movie called The Foot Fist Way. It was filmed in North Carolina. I watched it. It's a karate comedy. It's funny. It's decent. It's a good starter.
Did it have a lot of heart?
No.
Stakes.
Eastbound and Down actually ended with a lot of heart, surprisingly. But I love this show. The supporting character, Stevie, who's his best friend that he takes advantage of / sidekick. Love this show. Watched this thing through college till now. So they gave it a fitting ending, and the fourth season just hit DVD and Blu-ray. But I also started watching Silicon Valley. And the best way to describe this is The Social Network as a comedy. And it's kind of confusing because there's a new show on AMC called Halt and Catch Fire, which is kind of this, technology boom in Silicon Valley in the 80s, but a serious drama about that, where this is, completely comedy. It's got T.J. Miller in it, who was the comic relief in Transformers 4. It's got some good stuff.
I thought that was the dialogue.
The whole movie was comic relief, but there was a company in it called Hulu that's blatantly supposed to be Google, and it's just the show is very awkward. I feel like if you're one of these techie computer-based nerds, you'll really fall in love with this show, which I am not. But as it goes on,
Brad's too cool for that.
No, not smart enough for some of the lingo they're talking about, compression algorithms, and all
CD-ROMs.
that.
I mean, what is that?
But no, it's sit now. It's not sit in the past.
Oh,
Whereas
okay.
Halt and Catch Fire is sit in the past. This is basically they started a new company called Pied Piper, and they're starting a compression algorithm to be able to send lossless audio and 3D video and stuff over the internet very seamlessly. And wow, did this show ever come into its own? It's got the guy who played Gabe in The Office is in it. He's pretty funny. I don't remember the actor's name, but
I can't either. Yeah.
it has one of the best, raunchiest jokes. Just one single joke.
So I keep hearing
that I've ever heard, and I'm not going to say what this joke has to do with,
Good.
but one of my best friends says, this is the best, this type of raunchy joke you're ever going to hear. You got to get, because I was about 3 episodes in, he's like, you got to get to the finale. So I'm at Heroes Con waiting in line for Kevin Eastman. I'm, chit-chatting with this guy. We're talking about different shows. He says, you watch Silicon Valley. I said, yeah, I'm trying to finish. I'm trying to get into it. He's like, when you get to the 8th episode, the best, this type of raunchy joke you will ever hear. And so I'm telling everybody I watched this show with my fiance, and I was telling her it had this type of raunchy joke in it. It was hilarious, and it was delivered by the ensemble cast, but it was really T.J. Miller.
Sure.
And check this show out. Make sure you stick with it to the end. I think it's going to be the next maybe Entourage type show for HBO. It's something that they've been missing, that kind of male Bond comedy, even though it's completely different. But I think that's going to do it for what we've been checking out.
Well,
we got something else, Jerry?
We got a short review we're going to do here.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget?
So we are sitting here right now with cans of Crush in front of us, because Crush is one of the, I guess, has some special soda out for the upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. And as soon as I found out about these, I knew I had to track them down. So I've been hitting the grocery store every couple days. They have Orange Crush as Michelangelo. They have Grape Crush as Donatello. Strawberry Crush is Raphael. Pineapple Crush is April. And for Leonardo, though, they have a really special flavor, which is Berry Punch, which I think is a new flavor of Crush. So you can get these in 2-liter bottles. You can also get them in cans, which is what I bought, because the cans are really cool looking. They look like turtle shells. They kind of have
They look more like the turtles than the actual turtles in Michael Bay's Turtles.
Yeah. So the top of the can has like the bandana around it with the white eyes looking out. But this is Berry Punch for Leonardo.
Can you read the description on the back,
Absolutely.
please?
I was hoping you would ask.
Okay.
All right. Leonardo is the oldest, wisest, and most cautious turtle, the one who always plays by the rules. He also bears the great burden of being the team's chosen leader. Leo is dedicated to perfecting his ninjutsu skills and will stop at nothing to defend his brothers and the entire city. Wearing a blue bandana with katanas holstered in his belt, Leo firmly believes it's his ninja duty to protect all people.
We just lost our 10 listeners.
So
we just lost them.
Why? What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. I just, at some reason, I read it earlier.
Reading the back of Soda Can.
Yeah.
You asked about it.
I don't know. It's kind of funny. His ninja duty to protect, it just, that sounded funny.
So what do you guys
Ninja
think of the
duty.
soda?
I like it.
I like it, yeah. It's good.
I don't drink a lot. I mean, I like drink a lot of carbonated water. I don't drink a lot of like soda, except like at Halloween when they have the special flavors and stuff. But so
Halloween's the biggest eating holiday for Jerry. Not Thanksgiving, not Christmas.
And of course, Halloween for me starts August 1st and goes for
3 months.
Actually, it goes for the week after Halloween because we have Re-Halloween as well. So,
yeah, Re-Halloween.
Yeah, it's like a 3-month, 1-week holiday for me.
Re-Halloween's the best.
So I'm really liking it. It's a little has a nice little bit of sourness to it. It's a blue punch. My tongue's blue.
Yeah.
Andrew's is blue. Brad, stick your tongue out. Yeah, it's blue. So look at you were kissing a Smurf. So anyways, yeah, I like it. It kind of reminds me of the old Shasta, the Nintendo sodas where they had Luigi was like the blue raspberry soda.
Yeah, I remember.
Why was Luigi blue raspberry?
Because they wanted to do a blue
Those
raspberry flavor.
contributed to my childhood obesity.
And Yoshi was already apple, so green apple.
I remember those now.
Yeah,
I would give it a good and a half. I'll never drink it again, but thanks, Jerry.
I like it, yeah. It's a nice flavor to it. I normally don't like fruity sodas, I guess, but I like this. It's good.
Michelle Obama wouldn't approve, but, kind of targeting young people to make them gain weight, but, why not just
I'm
use
loving it,
cartoon
man,
turtles?
Hey, it's going to be targeting new people, though. These are old school looking turtles on here.
It is pretty cool. I mean, think about now. How excited would you be if you didn't know there's Turtles movie coming out and you reach down this can and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like turtle eyes looking up at me. It's pretty awesome. So,
on that note, let's move into epic news for the week, guys. We have some news that actually could turn out pretty good, could be horrific. The Harrison Ford injury that he sustained on the set of Star Wars Episode 7 at Pinewood Studios in London, it appears it was a broken leg, not a fractured ankle like originally reported.
A door came down?
A door came down, reportedly on the set of the Millennium Falcon, onto his leg, and it broke it. So he's going to be out 2 months. So at first they're like, that's fine, we'll reshuffle things. And then there were rumors that, hey, we're going to put Oscar Isaacs, who was the guy from Inside Llewyn Davis, he's going to have a bigger role now. And this original script that was written by the Toy Story guys had the younger cast at the forefront.
Right.
Then, when Abrams was announced as director and Lawrence Kasdan, the guy who wrote Empire Strikes Back, came in, rewrote the script, and said, hey, let's give the big three one last movie in the full spotlight. And the rumor was that out of the big three, that Han Solo was going to be the main, catalyst for everything that was going to happen in Episode 7. The main character, as much as you can be in an ensemble cast.
Right.
And so the fact that he was the one that got hurt was like, whoa, but hey, we can reshuffle some things. Well, reportedly, it's a bigger deal. They can't just reshuffle things because J.J. Abrams and executive producer Kathleen Kennedy went to Disney CEO Bob Iger. They asked him, can we delay this movie to May 2016? Disney already has Alice in Wonderland coming out Memorial Day weekend, May 2016. They have Captain America coming out the first weekend of May, going head-to-head with Batman vs. Superman. So May is this crazy crowded month.
Wow.
And they don't want to put Star Wars in there because their hope is we'll release it in December. January and February is like the dumping grounds for Hollywood movies, at least tentpole movies. And we'll just have, these long legs on this Star Wars movie, and it probably gross $2 billion. Probably has the best shot of being the first movie ever to gross $2 billion, which maybe Avatar did after or Titanic did after a re-release. It may have got close to $2 billion. But needless to say, it's good news that Kennedy and Abrams realized we got a problem. Let's not change anything. Let's keep the quality of our product. It's bad news that they're saying, and you got to understand from a business point of view, he's promised this to board of directors, to all these people, to shareholders in the company.
And they have the big they have other Star Wars movies planned from this point forward.
Yeah, each December. That was kind of going to be when they were going to strike, right? So if we have one in May, we'll have another one in December. Then maybe you do risk oversaturation.
When's Avatar 2 supposed to come out? What year?
I don't know, like 2017.
You think it's going to be up against Episode 8 or something? Avatar 2 is going to be up against Episode 8, maybe?
I don't know. Who cares about Avatar?
It's not really going to be going up against it.
I care
about that piece of blue.
I know.
I'm going to be there the first opening weekend easily.
All right, so moving on to a real science fiction movie. Star Wars Episode 7.
Science fantasy, all right.
That's true. It's more fantasy.
Yeah.
If it's science fiction, too much thinking, huh? Who would care about that? All right, Jared.
Not J.J. Abrams.
What do you think about this? We kind of want it to be a May release, but
So all the main Star Wars movies have had May releases. I mean, that's been a pretty big tradition, for all the original films, all the prequels. The only ones, I mean, you do have the special edition re-releases did come out in, I think, like January, February, and March of 2007.
So 3D episode 1 came out in February.
Yeah, February, and then the Clone Wars movie came out in like August, like late August, like mid or late August.
So it was summer, but
May has been pretty traditional. So once again, I really want them to do what's best for them, for the movie, because it seems like they really need to, make sure you get a good quality product out there, because if they don't, I mean, I think it's gonna,
they can't botch this.
Yes.
I believe that people came in thinking, okay, we were let down by the prequels. Let's not get our hopes too up. And then all of a sudden, J.J. Abrams is announced. We're doing more practical effects. The big three's back. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, hype is like, oh my God, this is going to be Star Wars. It's going to be Han, Luke, and Leia. And it becomes the most anticipated hype release, if not all time, one of the most anticipated releases of all time. And expectations are through the roof, Andrew. So can they really botch this? I mean, botch it. No. Can it be as bad as the
Star Wars
prequel?
Episode 7, as far as anticipation-wise, is the biggest movie of whatever year it comes out. It's the biggest movie of whatever season it comes out. If they want to push Captain America back and shove this right in front of Batman, Superman, they're going to be Batman and Superman. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine that?
No, I can't. That's having December sounds great to me.
Yeah.
Because it's great. It's a holiday release. It's awesome. Like I said, there's nothing coming out in January and February. Typically, might want to go see it a few more times, and we're not going to be missing anything to do so. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes.
But at the same time, I mean, I think I've said this to you before. They put out in April. You know what I mean? There's been some big movies in April recently. Yeah. They can put it out in April. They're going to have,
They're going to draw traffic when they put it out.
Yeah, they can put it out in February if they wanted to.
But if we put it out, let's say you put it out in May, and then a week later, 2 weeks later, Batman comes out.
Exactly. It's a lot more crowded in the summer.
If you put it out in December, it could win the box office 6 weeks in a row.
Sure.
Which is not going to happen in the summer.
Yeah.
But I believe it was, may have been, Jerry and Andrew, I talked to you about this separately, and you both made the same suggestion. If they do move it back to May, what Disney would be better served to do is, if they're going to really let Captain America go head-to-head with Batman versus Superman that first weekend of May, do that and push Alice in Wonderland back to or bring it up in the year in the spring, or push it back to the next spring.
Because it did really well. I mean, that was a huge, I know a lot of...
Is it a sequel, Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah.
Yes. I know a lot of people
the Tim Burton one?
Yeah. I know a lot of people like to diss that movie, but...
I like to diss that movie,
it did amazing. It was one of the highest...
It grossed $1 billion.
Yeah, it was one of the few films to do that. It just hit at the right time.
I think it was the first film to be released in March to gross $1 billion.
It just hit so many things right in terms of coming out, resonating with audiences. People liked it.
That's one where they kind of need it to have its own time to grow.
Yes.
Star Wars will make a lot of money. Even with them releasing in December, they might make more money than if they released it during the summer, because if it comes out in December, people may see it 3 times, huge fans. Whereas it comes out in the summer, they may only see it twice, so then they can go see, Batman versus Superman or something. You know what I mean? Summers are always crowded, and just more.
The other thing Brad and I had talked about was a huge thing to think about is how is the merchandising going to be affected by a December release?
And this soda was a good tie-in to that.
Yeah,
you mentioned that.
You see movie tie-ins happen huge in the summer. Mm-hmm. Not so much in the winter for films. I mean, you might have a little bit, but think about it. I mean, the Star Wars movie, besides all the money it's going to make on
Doritos,
the movie
Taco
itself,
Bell, Pepsi.
it's going to have all these tie-ins. It's going to have a huge toy line. And if you're releasing this movie a week or two before Christmas, sorry that kids aren't going to have a chance to really get on board with
Especially
it.
new characters.
Yes.
They're going to release toys before the movies come out.
They would release a little bit before.
Probably October,
But
you think?
usually it's about 30 days before.
Okay.
For Star Wars, has been pretty consistent.
How spoilerish can those things be?
Very.
The toys.
It's like Han Solo with removable head.
Definitely with some of the prequel figures, Anakin. I remember for episode 2, Anakin's arm came off because he loses the arm. Zom Wessel's arm came off, and she came with the mask for the changeling. They had Jango with the removable head.
Yeah.
You know,
Did they really?
Oh yeah,
That's
with the
funny.
magnet. So,
well, this is purely rumors here. But
yeah.
Rumor and speculation.
Rumor and speculation, but Harrison Ford wanted Han to be killed off in the original trilogy. George Lucas did not. And now the big rumor is that we would send Han off in grand fashion, that maybe he even sacrifices himself to kind of galvanize the team to take down whatever threat they're facing. And to completely change that or to rush the death of a character as important to pop culture as Han Solo seems like that could be very bad for word of mouth and just for... are we going to show up? Yes, but one thing I know, and I told Andrew this, J.J. Abrams is a Star Wars fan, okay? He wants a quality film. He loves this property as much as the people who talk about it on blogs and podcasts and in their mother and grandmother's basement all over this country, okay?
Why you got to stereotype, Brad?
But...
are we in the basement right now?
Only one person here still lives with their parents.
That's right. All right. I'm in the process of buying a home, guys.
I'm sure you are.
Yes, we're adding on to the carriage house, and I can fit that
Tree house is what we call it.
Millennium Vulcan in there. So, but no, he cares about the property.
He does,
and I just don't. I think if I know J.J. Abrams' name carries a lot of weight, but for them to go to the CEO of Disney, a multinational billion-dollar conglomerate, and ask this, I mean, he had good reason to. Of course, I'm sure JJ can rush a piece of crap out.
Sure.
Andrew would say, see Star Trek Into Darkness. But
it wasn't that bad.
But
it's a great movie. It was not great.
You know, it'd be interesting to say. I think we all want quality here. We're willing to wait another 6 months.
Sure.
You know, nobody even thought this could ever happen. So the fact that they're actually shooting a Star Wars movie in London as we speak is pretty cool. But let's go ahead and move into some other non-Star Wars epic news. We had another sequel announced this week. Guillermo del Toro announced Pacific Rim 2 for April 7th, 2017. He also announced that between now and then, we don't know where we're at, if it'll be online, on TV, or what, but some kind of new Pacific Rim animated show. Jerry, Pacific Rim is a series that you and I, or a film that you and I really enjoyed from last year.
I love Pacific Rim.
Andrew did not. It did not resonate with him as much, but a franchise worthy of a sequel, wouldn't you say?
Definitely something where a sequel just makes a lot of sense. It doesn't seem like a stretch of the imagination, and I mean, I think there's so much more to explore.
And it didn't do well here. It only made about $100 million in the States, like overall. But overseas, it made like over $400 million.
Oh, it did huge overseas.
Yeah, it was crazy. I just love it. It's so different. It gets that Del Toro kind of style, that unique blend that he brings to all of his films, with that kind of big summer blockbuster feeling, that almost like an Independence Day, or if I dare say something like that. And it was just fresh and original, and just one of my favorite films of last year. And looking back, I know we're halfway through the summer now, or it's almost July 1st, but Pacific Rim was better than, I think it's better than any film I saw this summer so far, including X-Men. I enjoyed Pacific Rim better. I just got a lot of enjoyment out of that movie.
I would agree with that. The only movie that I've seen this year that was, overall this year, I guess the only movies I have seen that I thought were better than Pacific Rim would probably be Lego Movie and Captain America 2.
Well, yeah, Captain America 2. I wasn't counting that in the summer. Yeah, that was April. Even though apparently summer may start in April soon, or it already is by Hollywood standards.
Pretty sure you wrote an article that said that.
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I did say, is April the new May?
No.
I still say May. I'm a purist.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Andrew,
Yeah.
are you excited for Pacific Rim 2? Jaegers, Kaiju.
I think this is a show worthy of a cartoon. Yeah, I like the idea of a Pacific Rim cartoon. That sounds really cool. I'll see what it looks like. I mean, some cartoons don't appeal to me. I mean, and I'm never going to say never, but as of right now, I don't even plan on seeing Pacific Rim 2.
Well,
It doesn't sound like something I'd be interested in even watching. Now, maybe the trailer's going to come out and it's going to be cool.
he's
Maybe
fighting Godzilla.
it comes out when? You said April?
7.
So there's probably, honestly, not going to be much else to watch at that point. So I might go see it anyway, just for the heck of it. I don't think it's that original at all. I think a lot of the story was kind of cliche. There's a lot of stuff with like his brother and stuff. It wasn't
Had a
interesting
lot
to
of
me.
heart. Really resonated.
Yeah, there's a lot of
brother
stakes too.
storyline.
I don't know.
It wasn't
that
just
interesting.
scene
The
when-
fights didn't look.
I just thought
Was
it
it?
fun.
Were
Yeah.
they in Tokyo? The rain fight scene.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
It
Yeah.
just shot so beautiful.
I mean,
for
I've
something
seen
that was
a
on green
lot
screen.
worse films. There's some really cool stuff in there, but in general, I just didn't care for it. It just didn't. It wasn't that exciting to me. It wasn't that interesting to me. It's just not. It's not a franchise for me.
I'm really excited for the show because maybe it will
The
get
show
people
sounds cool.
interested
cartoon
in the
sounds like a really-
property.
yeah,
Maybe a
Get
toy line.
kids
something.
interested, yeah. The
Yeah.
toys coming out from NECA are awesome.
They're insane.
I haven't
The
collected any of
Kaijus.
them, but they're really nice.
Yeah, they are
Jaegers
really nice.
There's been plenty of movies this summer that I've seen. I like Godzilla better than Pacific Rim easily.
Okay. Let's move on to some 80s action sequels. And I know these are two that Jerry are eagerly anticipating.
Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper now!
There's going to be not
Do it!
a Predator reboot, but a Predator sequel directed and written by
this-
Shane
Yeah,
Black.
is this Predator 3 or a sequel to Predators?
See, I couldn't. I read a couple articles, and I really couldn't
I mean,
understand where it will fall. in the
Predator. I mean,
timeline.
they're all sequels to the original Predator.
Sure,
They're
sure.
not. They're not.
But I mean,
continuous.
that's what I'm saying. Is it like a continuation of that? Is it a
I think it's
continuation
gonna
of the
be-
series as a whole?
I think it's just another part in the series.
I
as a whole.
assumed after Predators, but that was an assumption. I didn't.
Yeah,
read
we have no
anything.
idea. It could be any.
I was
time.
unclear too. I assumed it kind of sounded like a reboot in the sense that it was going to be like a new story, but they weren't going to call it a reboot. Like it wasn't going to erase everything that happened before,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. So I think it kind of sounds like almost a tongue-in-cheek reboot. You know what I mean?
I mean, like I said, I mean, Predator 2 doesn't really have. I mean, there's like a couple minor.
Well, sure. Like I mean, but
lines.
Predator, like you said, is a sequel.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even call that a reboot. It's not technically a reboot,
Right.
but but it is kind of.
It's its own thing.
And that's what I'm kind of expecting out of this.
I love
you know?
Predator. I hated Predators. I did not like Predators.
I didn't hate it.
Lawrence
I don't think I liked it as
Fishburne's
much as-
character just annoyed the
Oh,
heck
so
out
you-
of me in
The
that.
Topher Graces, you said?
No, Lawrence Fishburne and
Oh,
Topher Grace
oh.
too. They both did.
So I liked Predators a lot. I mean, but I will say, I will argue, I will fight with sticks that
Okay.
Predator is like the most perfect movie ever made.
No.
I mean,
I've heard a lot of people
the
say that. A lot of
pacing.
people.
No, I love
just
I mean, I love Predator,
just
but
the pacing of it, the dial, just everything about it.
Terminator 2 is
Just
better in my
works
mind.
so much together. I mean, just the way how much suspense it builds before you actually see the Predator.
Especially if
If
I
you
would love to
don't-
have gone in there
Yeah.
not knowing what it was. It starts out like a typical action film with these soldiers going in and killing the locals in the jungle and stuff.
And how about it starred Shane Black as Hawkins? So
Yeah.
to see Shane Black come back to this property that kind of was one of the things that got his foot in the door. I
Well,
mean,
you know, he was actually sent there to. Shane Black was put into Predator.
what year did Predator come out?
Predator came out in 1987.
So is that after Lethal Weapon? Because didn't
Yes.
Shane Black directed Lethal Weapon? Or was that Richard Donner?
He wrote.
He wrote Lethal Weapon.
He was
Okay,
writing
okay.
a lot. Shane
Yeah.
Black was
wrote Lethal
sent
Weapon, that's right.
to kind of keep an eye on the director of Predator because they weren't sure that he really knew how to manage everything. I mean, once again, they were in the middle of nowhere filming this movie, so he was kind of there to lend support and sort of keep an eye on things without the studio being overtly telling the director, we're keeping an eye
Yeah.
on you.
So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for anything Shane Black does.
And I'm sure it'll take place at Christmas.
I'm excited for anything Predator.
Inexplicably.
Yeah,
you know?
Shane Black has written so much, but he hasn't directed a whole lot. I know he directed
Iron Man
Kiss
3.
Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3.
Which both of those were received pretty well.
Really
I didn't
good.
care for Iron Man 3 that much, but it wasn't a bad
I liked
movie.
what he was going for in Iron Man 3. As far as getting at Tony Stark, getting him out of the can, as they said in that film. But yeah, some of the execution, we're not going back to that well. Let's move on. The slide still on. Going to be starring as John Rambo for a 5th time. Now, this is a rumor. They say he will help write the script, so you know it's going to be very well done. And it will deal with taking down a Mexican drug cartel. Seems very... kind of a smaller scale compared to what we've heard about a Rambo 5 in the past.
Werewolves.
Tracking down Beast somewhere, werewolves. I've heard of Yeti
Bin Laden
before.
for a while was one of them.
Yeah. So, oh, my gosh. So, I think it's cool to kind of see it end on... Because Rambo's such a small film in scale, right?
Yes.
It's such a, an intimate story about this Vietnam vet and kind of the horrors he's dealt with. And
First Blood was pretty small. Rambo 2 was a little bit larger scale. Rambo First Blood Part 2, and then Rambo 3 was actually pretty large, but Rambo was John Rambo, which was the 4th one, went back to that real small, like him going to rescue the missionaries.
But the
and
action
stuff.
was big.
That's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
That's
a good dumb action film where it's like dumb in that like there's no plot.
Yeah.
It's like Rambo's going to save these people who've been kidnapped. That's the plot. And that's all you need to know. And now you can focus on the action.
Bringing in any guns? You ain't changing anything.
It's pretty good.
I love that film, man.
I do too. I really like it.
Yeah.
So
I did too. Yeah, I enjoy all the Rambo films. So I think it's kind of cool to see the franchise come full circle and kind of go back to that smaller scale. And it sounds like a Mexican cartel will be some dumb action, but nothing crazy. It's not like, he has to stop a terrorist from taking out the Eiffel Tower or something crazy, you know. So I'm looking forward to Rambo 5. I think we all are. So, speaking of dumb action movies, let's get into our review of Michael Bay's Transformers: Age of Extinction.
This is the greatest advance in modern physics since the splitting of the atom.
A rare metal, molecularly unstable.
It's what they're made of.
Bring it up! All the way! You guys have never seen a truck like this before.
Dad, you can't keep spending money on junk.
I don't think it's a truck at all. I think we just found a transformer.
I'm going to ask you this once. Where is Optimus Prime?
After all we have done, humans are hunting us. But I fear we are all targets now.
That was from the trailer of the 4th installment of the billion-dollar cash grab that has become the Transformers franchise for Paramount Pictures. So, guys, I'm going to start out with a few opening questions. Now, let's go ahead and be up front. Jerry, you didn't see the film. Andrew and I did. Tell them why. Tell them how this came about.
All right. So, I'm not the biggest Transformers fan. Like, in general, there are so many. I mean, you got to think about it. There's so many 80s properties I love. I'm a hardcore G.I. Joe fan.
Masters of the Universe?
Now, I'm a hardcore Masters of the Universe fan. I'm a hardcore Ghostbusters fan. I see his movies, I watch his cartoons. TMNT. Yeah. I collect those toys. But Transformers is a little before. Transformers is quite a few years before TMNT. Yeah. If you're talking about the original, not the cartoon and stuff like that. Yeah. So I've just never been a big fan of the Transformers toys. I don't like them that much. That's just me. I mean, it's just not my thing. But I mean, I like the characters, to an extent. I'm familiar with them. I had a couple as a kid. I liked the first movie. I definitely understand why hardcore Transformers fans said they didn't care for it. Yeah. Because of the focus on the people instead of the robots and some of the changes. I definitely understand that. But I enjoyed it. Thought it was a good, good fun popcorn movie that was, better than average, and I liked it.
But what I want you to tell them is...
I'm getting there.
I'm getting there.
All right, every story has a beginning, Brad.
Okay.
So that was the beginning. So I just never heard anything good about 2, and in all honesty, I'm just like, I'm not going to watch it. And then I never watched 3, and so you guys wanted me to go see 4. And so a couple weeks ago, Brad lent me 2 and 3.
The good friend I am.
Yeah, lent me 2 and 3 on Blu-ray. And
set a curse upon him is what you did.
So I sat down to watch Transformers 2. It's about a 2.5-hour movie. I shut it off after an hour and 15 minutes. Okay, I do not shut movies off. I mean, I just don't.
And Jerry loves some bad movies.
I love, if somebody tells me a movie was terrible, had horrible acting, terrible special effects, you can see the strings, I'm going to go check it out. I mean, I'll watch pretty much anything. And I turned this movie off an hour and 15 minutes into it. Not only I can say all the things about...
Did you get to the old Transformer?
No, I didn't get that far.
The third one, right?
That's the second one.
Right.
Let me just say, I'd read the the FAQ on Topless Robot when this movie came out originally, Transformers 2. I'd heard every argument about why this movie was bad. I mean, there
wasn't no argument.
Well, but still, it's called an argument.
No, some people love this film. I remember talking to people about this film. I remember. Okay, and I'm even going to call you out on this.
Choose revenge.
I remember I was in the theater of 2. The credits were still rolling. I didn't want to go all the way. I forget exactly what the circumstances were. I know I didn't want to go to Charlotte to watch this movie in IMAX, whereas you went.
Evan and I were living in Charlotte in college at the time.
And so I watched it in Shelby with some people, and we talked afterwards. And I was like, I just did not like this movie. I just did not like it. And I loved the first one. I wanted to watch this. It started well, and I was just like, this was just awful. I just didn't like this movie. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't. And at first,
you loved the first one.
Loved it.
Yeah.
And so I called you and Evan. And you and Evan loved it.
Yes,
You were bashing on me for not liking it, and then I talked to all these other people.
It was such a simpler time when Evan just loved enjoying life,
But I talked to other people who love this film, and I didn't understand why people liked this film. I really didn't. It was just I
remember that. Let me kind of clarify what happened there. Well, there is no excuse.
Well,
there was a point in my life where I enjoyed Transformers 2.
I wish I could have been there.
If you want to click off the podcast now, I will understand.
You're asking your resignation.
But
you saw it in true IMAX.
Yeah, I went and saw this movie in IMAX.
True IMAX, right?
Yeah. And actually, I saw it on both. I saw I saw it in digital. I saw this movie
first time
twice.
Digital IMAX.
Digital IMAX.
Oh my god!
As we call it, Limax. But hold on, let me be fair though. Okay.
No, it's over. We're done.
No, listen. We went to see it, and I'd seen The Dark Knight in True IMAX, and I knew this wasn't going to be that. But they had just installed the new sound system, and just at Concord Mills, which is a big mall in Charlotte.
Right.
They had just installed this. Everything was new, state of the art. That opening scene comes on. They drop Optimus out of it.
I was one of the people at the beginning of that movie cheering in the theaters, clapping along. It was so cool watching it with this huge crowd. I mean, we haven't had big like that this year. I feel like I've missed that.
I used to love.
They're a pretty decent group for Captain America.
I used to love,
but of course, this was also a midnight show that I had gone to.
Yeah, us too. I used to love big dumb action a lot more, but there was no excuse for me like that. It was when I saw how bad it was. You had told me how bad it was. I was like, okay, Andrew's full of it. So we go back and we saw it on True IMAX. And I subjected my fiance to it. She wasn't my fiance then, and she wanted to literally kill me when we got out of the theater.
Good. So Abby had better sense than you did.
And that was when I really had fault with that movie because if you remember, Michael Bay shot it in True IMAX. And if you watch
parts of it,
it goes back and forth.
Whereas Nolan will stick with the scene in the Batman movies for
True IMAX
minutes.
was kind of a new thing for films at the time.
Yeah, but he just went back and forth, back and forth, cross-cut between the 70 millimeter.
Kind of like The Room, how they went back and forth between
I was dying.
He shot the same things in true IMAX. It was just intersped with other parts of the scene.
So and that was when I realized how bad it was. I got it on Blu-ray like the Christmas after, and I realized, man, this is a bad movie.
It's so much wrong.
We kind of got in. I was going to ask the question, and Jerry kind of went ahead and did it. Like, what are your thoughts on this franchise? And we're kind of telling you now.
Franchise?
Yeah, the Transformers. Talking about the film franchise right now.
The film franchise.
The film franchise, yeah. And, I like the third one. We went, and it's funny because Andrew and I have kind of, even though we didn't see the second one, we've kind of experienced this. The first one came out like right when you and I had started to become pretty good friends.
Let me defend myself if I can.
What are you defending? You hated the second one. No. You were in the right.
No. I'm going to defending me seeing this fourth film because I am one of those people who I don't like when people whine and complain about Call of Duty coming out every year, and they buy Call of Duty. Yeah. And I whine and complain about these films, and I still went and watched the fourth one, okay? Yes. I loved the first film. I thought the first film was great. Honestly, I don't feel like...
epic.
I reviewed it as epic in my, however we review things back in those days.
We used to do this. Yeah.
But after I've seen it a few more times, I don't think it's that good. I'd probably give it a great.
But when we came out of that theater,
sure.
It was electric.
It was epic. I went and saw the second one expecting that. Was totally let down. Watched it again. Maybe it was a little bit better than I thought the first time.
The third one.
I watched it again right before the third one. But it was just bad. But this movie came out. It was produced and filmed during the Hollywood writers' strike.
The second one.
Right.
The second one,
and it was, it affected a lot of things, TV and
heroes
and movies. Said. I said, hey, we had some of these same people, and they had some of the same elements. It just didn't work this time. And even though it was that bad, I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. I said, it came out during this hard time. Shia LaBeouf got injured, and they had that work that in and stuff like that. Like, okay, I'll give them that. Let's go see this third one. Finish your trilogy.
And we went to watch it. We went to see it.
It was better than the second one. They literally took some of the things that people complained about, not just the second one, but both of them together, and they kind of worked on some of these elements. They tried to make the Transformers a bigger part of it and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it was
better.
I liked it. The space race element of that. I really enjoyed it.
I was personally done right then and there. And they said they're making a fourth one. I was like, no, thank you. But then they said Mark Wahlberg's going to be in it. I'm like, I like Mark Wahlberg. They said Dinobots are going to be in it. I'm like, I just want to see the Dinobots. I love Dinobots. I love the Transformers. I like the franchise.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, I like the franchise. Like not counting the films. You know what I mean? I'm talking about just like the cartoon and toys. Grew up on Beast Wars. I love Transformers Prime. I love the franchise. I was like, let's go see this fourth one. They're kind of like rebooting it, but not really, Yeah. Let's give this another shot. This is kind of like my final chance. And I'm just defending me seeing it for the fourth time. Okay. That's why I went and saw it this fourth time, even though I've disliked it since the second time.
Okay, so that's our thoughts on as far as the franchise. I enjoy it. I hadn't really experienced it much outside the first film.
You gotta watch Prime. Both you gotta watch Prime.
But I will say,
Young Justice Prime, Avatar: Last Airbender.
After I finish the Clone Wars, I'm gonna watch Transformers.
I'm not gonna watch Clone Wars until one of you guys watches one of those shows.
However, I think my attachment from this franchise was attached. And let me tell you, Evan Truelove saw the first movie 4 times in theaters.
Oh my gosh. I think I saw it a couple times in theaters.
I saw it twice, but we went. It was on
I'd see it. The first one got released in theaters. I'd go see it.
I'll never forget that night. We went on 4th of July, saw fireworks, saw this movie. And I was just like, wow, that was something different. That was something really... I guilty pleasure. I love Michael Bay. I love The Rock. Armageddon's my 4th favorite movie of all time. I love Bad Boys 1 and 2. I like The Island. I like Michael Bay's films.
Sure.
And Transformers, I was like, yes, there's another one for Michael Bay. But since that first Transformers has been all it was, so I think
I was so excited for 2.
I go back every time. You talk about being excited, just hoping that magic of the first one will be captured again.
Yeah.
And it's just it hasn't happened.
It's too. I don't even know what they're doing.
All right,
we'll talk about this.
Let's get into our actual review of the film, which Jerry is kind of. on the sidelines, but he's here nonetheless. So let's talk about some of the, because you and I really, Andrew, we enjoyed the first 45 minutes. Some great concepts.
It started so good. It started with great concepts. So the whole point to set up this film is basically that ever since the destruction of basically Chicago in the third one, is that humans have basically said, we're done with Transformers. They're horrible for us. Even the good guys are bringing bad guys to our planet. We are done with the Transformers. There's a really cool scene at like the first few minutes of the film where Mark Wahlberg drives past his billboard where it's like, report suspicious activity, but talking about the Transformers.
And when you see the scenery, that scene was shot so well. You see like Michael Bay's talent as a filmmaker.
Yeah,
he is talented. But it's just, go on.
But, I mean, so the whole point of the film is, since this, Transformers are basically public enemy number one. They show there's playing cards similar to the terrorist playing cards we used to have when we invaded Iraq. But we had it with, like, Transformers and stuff on there, which is a cool prop. I would love to have that. But, so, humans have basically, the government and this one technological industries type company, KSI, they've been basically experimenting on Transformers and are trying to get the Transformer technology for themselves.
Well, you have two moving parts. There's a Transformer bounty hunter that's also taking out like remaining Autobots. Yeah, Lockdown's his name, and he's working with a black ops group, working with the government. And the government is kind of, through back channels that the president apparently is not aware of, has kind of given them this technology to create this element so uniquely named Transformium.
Yeah.
Right, so they can apply it, we think, to everyday technology and make life easier for Americans. But they're doing some other stuff, and I'm not going to say what that is until we get to spoilers. But I want to talk about, I'm not a big Mark Wahlberg fan as you are. I like him in Invincible. I love him in The Fighter. I love him in Shooter. Departed, he's good. There's some, like, I couldn't stand him in Two Guns.
You didn't see, what was that one, The Last Lone Soldier or whatever?
Yeah, I want to see that.
So good. That was such a good movie.
I don't hate Mark Wahlberg. I'm just not his biggest fan. But I
have all the CDs.
Moving on from the Shia LaBeouf era, to have Wahlberg, even though I didn't believe him to be this inventor, but I like this core group. We have Wahlberg, T.J. Miller, this young girl. Let's talk about
it had a different feel at the beginning.
It did. That, hey, this is something different. It's still Michael Bay. It's still Transformers. But I like this main cast. And this girl, her name's Nicola Peltz, who's sadly probably the strongest female lead they've had in one of these movies.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, does Michael Bay objectify every woman he has?
I love how she comes home from high school in like the shortest shorts and a tank top
possible.
Yeah, and it's just like
and it's like, okay, yeah, this is a Michael Bay film, but there is something to her character. She's shown as a strong female character. She takes care of her dad.
Yeah, she helps take care of Mark Wahlberg. She's trying to keep the family going because he's out of luck inventor basically.
And I'm enjoying this dynamic between T.J. Miller, who's the comedic relief, Wahlberg, and her. And, I love this whole Texas life. It's getting us out of the big city, kind of taking us to the country. And then, I don't know, there's this other character, Jack, played by Jack Rayner, who's the girl's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And basically what happens is crap hits the fan. They get a hold of Optimus. Government shows up, led by the smoke monster from Lost.
That was him.
Yeah, it is. The smoke
you made a joke about it. I didn't get it till afterwards. That was the smoke monster. You're right.
And when Smoke Monster shows up, and when Jack Rayner shows up, he says, Wahlberg asked Smoke Monster, "Do you have a warrant?" And he replied, "What did he say, Andrew?
My face is my warrant," or something like this.
My gun is my warrant.
Yeah, he pointed to his face or something and said, "This is my warrant." It was such a weird, stupid line. Like exactly. It was a weird line as it is, but he could have held his gun. "This is my warrant." Like, oh, that's cool because he points at his face or something. "This is my warrant." I'm like, what does that even mean?
This movie sounds really weird. Like hearing you guys talk about it and having.
But so they show up. Crap hits the fan. Optimus comes back out.
Yeah.
And we go on to a pretty good action scene.
Oh my goodness!
A pretty good action scene. And,
yeah. And Optimus is shooting at humans, which is...
Yeah, Optimus has changed.
There's a scene early where Ratchet's shooting at humans.
Yeah.
That is just something you do not see. You don't see Autobots attacking humans.
Considering that, the second one was a piece of crap, I actually, as opposed to Andrew, I enjoyed the third Transformers. And to see the first 45 minutes, I'm like, maybe this franchise is back on track.
I thought it started so good.
Because we went in expecting crap.
There was some like the "This is my warrant" type lines. I'm like, this is just the first film wasn't perfect, but it was doing some new things, and it looked like they were doing some cool stuff.
And then, this movie really. I won't say jumps the shark. I'll say jumps the ship about midway in at a scene. And
some ships jump.
Guys, there's a lot we want to talk about. A lot of Transformer-specific stuff. A lot of dialogue-specific stuff. Some deaths that we can't talk about until we get to spoilers. So let's go ahead and roll the reel forward to spoilers for Transformers 4.
All right, so this is the part normally where we give a synopsis about what happens at the end of, kind of finishing what happens at the end of the film. Spoilers are allowed in this section. We just explain what happens in the rest of the film just to go over to set the stage. But so many different things happen at the end. That'd be the rest of the podcast.
I don't know where to start. Yeah.
I know where to start. This is Transformers Age of Extinction. You can't see a commercial of this thing without the Dinobots. The very first scene of this movie has some robotic dinosaurs, and then they just show up almost randomly near the end of the film, and they're not even explained. Like, someone who knows about the Dinobots, I understand what was going on. They're big legendary warriors, and Optimus Prime has to defeat Grimlock, so they'll follow them and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're just a person who's watching this film, all of a sudden, the Dinobots aren't even talked about for the entire film except for the very first scene. And then Optimus Prime releases these different Dinobots from a cage.
Was the cage on that ship?
It was on the ship. Okay. We won't get into that. But he releases them, and then he has to fight them, and then he just starts riding them, and it's weird. Andrew
went there first because that had to be heartbreaking as a Dinobots fan.
And I didn't even hear the leader. Again, I know you don't follow the Transformers that much. The leader of the Dinobots is called Grimlock. He's a big character. Yeah. I don't recall they mentioned Spike by name. The Dinobot Spike. I don't recall them ever saying Grimlock's name. And it bugged the crap out of me. I guess Spike is just a cooler name or something. I don't know.
So that was something I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned you or which one of y'all I talked to, but I was even watching the second movie, for the hour and 15 minutes that I watched it. They didn't say characters' names a lot, and when you have all these characters that look so similar, it's okay, it might be a good idea.
You wait till the end of that movie.
I won't get there. So
there are so many Decepticons, they never even try to name them all.
The movie commits so many atrocities, and some of the atrocities it commits is just ridiculous from a written standpoint, and other ones...
There's so many cool storylines.
Slash Film had an interview with the guy who wrote this movie. I don't know his name. I don't want to know his name. Talking about the screenwriter.
One person wrote this movie, or 5 people write this movie?
And usually multiple people write the movie.
No, but this seems like
it's 2 or 3 people.
This seems like 4 different films that they
usually
together.
It's 2 people. I know.
Sure. Most of the time, so many writers are uncredited.
I'll pull up that article if you'll give me a second. But he was talking about, and I'm going to find the gentleman's name, how illogical sense doesn't apply when writing a Transformers movie, that's not the point. I'm talking, he literally said this in an interview on slashfilm.com.
Every movie has holes in it if you want to break it down.
Yes.
But your movie has to, there's too much going on. Galvatron should have been a huge deal. Megatron is recreated by the humans as Galvatron.
Okay, here it is. It's an article by Russ Fisher on June 27th. Transformers Age of Extinction writer. How do you pronounce this, Andrew? EHREN. Aaron Kruger. Logical sense doesn't have to be all end all. Have to be the be all end all. And I read some of this article, and They don't care about the script.
I understand kind of what he's saying in that. with an action movie, you got to be able to take liberties. And
but it has to make
like
sense in and of itself. Come on.
This is typical Transformers for me. This is my typical problem with these movies. There is this, like, for the first, like, 45 minutes of the film, Optimus Prime is this beat up. Mark Wahlberg finds him after this big battle. He barely's, holding on to life. He's so messed up. He's missing parts.
Yeah.
They finally break away, Mark Wahlberg and Optimus Prime and the other humans, and they're meeting up with the other Autobot survivors on planet Earth. Optimus Prime drives past another truck on the road, scans it, and his rust disappears. He grows new pieces. And
it's a new version of Optimus.
Right, and then
Bumblebee does the same thing.
Bumblebee does the next scene, but Bumblebee is complete. He already has all his bits and pieces. And then the very next scene, they meet the Autobots. So I understand they wanted Optimus Prime to not look so old and busted, and they wanted to give him a fresh look.
So why not let the Autobots?
Why not let the Autobots repair him? That's the very next scene. He literally he scans.
And what was that truck that scanned him? How did he know to show up? Did Optimus call him? The truck that scanned Optimus and made him new.
The Optimus scanned a truck that was just driving on the road.
Oh, okay.
In the same way they
kind of ported himself.
Right. But literally all they had to do was, instead of having that scene where he scans them, just cut away, have the Autobots there, and he's talking to them all busted up, and they fix them, and he just knew. It doesn't even have to be a thing. No. But they made it a thing, and they did it in the stupidest possible way. It's the same with the, this is my warrant. Just hold up a gun and say, this is my warrant. And it's a cool scene. It's cool
like
line.
They write a draft for these films, like a rough draft, and then they just all right, we'll use it.
Yeah, do they edit the draft? Do they edit this at all? It's just crazy.
Bumblebee, he goes from being a 67 Camaro to I looked it up, it was a 2016 Camaro that they have done custom work to.
It was cool. Yeah.
So when you guys were talking about the whole drafts thing, coming and going, I was reading a great article the other day.
Where do you know?
And I think it may have been Cracked, but Cracked.com. Okay. But it was one of there where they take an industry insider and stuff. And it was just talking about how so many of these, these movies like this that you've really got. I mean, you might have. How do you say how many writers are credited?
I think it's just one here.
You have
Aaron
one
Kruger.
writer credited, but you have so many other people who get
involved.
Even not even other writers,
actors changing it kind of on the fly. And
well, like they were talking about
one guy, Aaron Kruger wrote it.
So I think this was a Crack.com article, but they were talking about how for a standard movie. Okay, so the first thing is you've got the initial story idea or whatever. The producer or director, they have their own things that they may want to put in the script as well. They're talking about how I don't remember who it was, but the producer of the movie Wild Wild West.
That spider.
Yes, the mechanical spider. For 3 or 4 movies before that, he kept wanting to put a mechanical spider in everything he did.
He was talking to Kevin Smith, who was going to direct the Superman movie, and the guy was going to write this Superman movie that Kevin Smith was going to direct. And I remember hearing an interview with Kevin Smith, and he said he wanted a giant spider. He's like, why do you want a giant spider in a Superman movie? He's like, I just want it in there. A few years later,
it showed up in another movie.
Wild West.
So, you've got people that kind of want their own thing, and then you've got the studio having, rewrites done just for whatever they think is going to be popular to get stuff in. And then you have, I had never heard of this before, but a lot of actors have their own writer that goes back through. Like they said, why does this article kind of commented,
why does Tom Cruise run in every movie?
Yeah, or why does Will Smith's comments, why do his jokes always sound like Will Smith jokes? Because a lot of actors have somebody that comes in and rewrites the dialogue or scenes to play off of their strengths or what their perceived strengths are. So with a movie like this, you've had so many people, and that's almost any movie though, but you have
especially a big blockbuster.
Yeah, you have so many people whose hands have been all over this, just getting what they want.
Let's talk about this then.
You could have had Hasbro say, hey, we want the Dinobots in the movie because we've sold toys of all these other characters.
They were so tacked on.
Yeah, they were.
And you could have had Hasbro say, we want Dinobots in the movie.
The writing was bad in a couple ways. Okay, it was bad in it made for an incoherent plot, and it was bad and it was just plain bad. There was a slavery joke in this film.
I don't know why you guys.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, so there's going to be a billion. This movie's going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Made $100 million this weekend. First movie to gross $100 million. Made 41.6 on Friday. Bunch of people in America are going to see this. Sorry. Now.
That was an incoherent statement, Brad.
Yeah, a bunch of people in America are going to see this film.
Right.
All right, now. If you make this joke that they made about slavery in your workplace, you're fired. So why is it okay? I understand if it's an outrageous R-rated comedy and they make a lewd or crude joke, but to ingrain a joke about slavery in the South in a blockbuster where it's just so out of place.
It wasn't out of place. The guy,
you don't make that joke.
I don't understand what the problem. I don't think it was that bad of a joke. It was barely a slavery joke.
Okay.
The guy works for Mark Wahlberg. He's losing money working for Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg doesn't pay him. He's losing money working for him because Mark Wahlberg is always borrowing money from him. And he's like, you can't tell me what to do. Slavery's outlawed in this country or whatever. Or not even in Texas or something like that. It was more a Texas joke than a slavery joke. I mean, it was.
Sounds more like a Texas joke to me.
I don't remember it word for word because I didn't think it was a big deal.
Sounds like
I 100% believe, especially like you said, so many people are going to see this film that some people are going to be offended, but some people
get offended over anything.
There was
true. But
the Rainbow Six game, Rainbow Six Siege. It was a trailer for this game shown at E3. It was like a 5-minute trailer where these people go and rescue this hostage, and the hostage was female. And so people wanted to know, hey, are there going to be male hostages too? Well, of course. It's Rainbow Six. They've had games and games for years.
Already with lots
Why did people need to ask that question? Because they saw 5. It's like asking, are there going to be more than one map? Well, yeah, of course.
It was just kind of noticeable.
I don't think that
out
was
like a sore thumb.
I didn't think. It'd be different if it were like involved maybe a black person, and it was just like you can't control me. I don't. Whatever.
All right. Move it on. We'll agree to disagree because I thought it was inappropriate.
Having not seen the movie, I just wanted to say one of the things that I thought was weird about the Transformers film and a half that I've seen in this series.
The twins?
But you own the first one. Yeah, they were racist for sure.
That was the one. Not even with the racism. Is just the humor is really odd in these movies.
It really
because
is.
There's some stuff that
it's just crude sometimes.
It's very crude, and here's the thing:
I mean crude is like unrefined. I don't mean it's necessarily like shocking crude.
Yeah.
It just like.
But I mean, let's be honest.
It's like a first draft.
These are made for like a pretty wide demographic. But at the same time, I mean, these are from Hasbro, who markets these toys to like, pretty young kids. And yet, some of the jokes in there are definitely not what you'd expect to see in a movie.
Devastator in his balls.
Yeah, or the whole joke about the mom eating like all the pot brownies in the second movie.
Scene.
I know. Or the whole thing about like all the masturbation jokes about Shia LaBeouf in the first movie.
But listen,
imagine if Marvel Studios, one of their movies, I mean, how... it would be weird. It's just weird.
That's one of the problems with this film too. Like they were in number 2, I thought number 2 was long, and you have this whole stupid scene with the pot brownies that could have just been cut, removed totally. Yeah. And that's how I kind of felt about this one. This one I think would have been the number 4. I liked number 4 to some degree. I liked it more than the 2 or 3, though 3 is basically not in my memory. But I mean, I didn't like it that much, and I think it would have been a lot better if they just maybe cut some of these action scenes down. There's an action scene.
The last action scene is an hour long.
We're following. Well, I mean, it comes off another action scene, which is 45 minutes. It's basically the film is like a 45 minutes of setup and then 2 big action scenes. Basically,
and the best part is the setup. That's the best part of it. What I don't understand, we're in this theater. People are laughing at inappropriate moments. They're cheering at multiple points. People, we've already just said this movie's made $100 million.
That was the most packed theater I've been in this summer. This year.
Yeah. And I just don't understand why people are eating this crap up. And it really has become fecal matter crap. It's what it is. I mean, it's just, I'm serious to the point where it has tarnished Michael Bay's. Does he have a career? Yes.
Oh,
Does
absolutely.
he make millions?
Yeah.
And probably close to not billions, but he's making millions and millions because these movies are making billions. Yes. Has it hurt his career financially? No. But I tell you, he's lost as far in the filmmaking community a little bit of integrity by keep pushing this crap.
This is a guy who's one of his films is part of the Criterion Collection.
Which movie is
Armageddon? It's part of the Criterion Collection. No,
it should be. I got to get the Criterion Blu-ray of Armageddon.
Yeah, I mean, and then he puts out Transformers. I mean, every director has like a movie too. Every actor.
I didn't like Pain and Gain. A lot of people did, and for a lot of people, that was a break from the Transformers movies to see that this guy, even if it is a darker film, can still make movies. You know. But it's sad to see him continue to do this, you know? Could Christopher Nolan have continued to make billions and billions, not billions, excuse me. Well, movies would have made billions, but could he have continued to cash in on Batman for the rest of his career? Absolutely. Did he? No. He had some integrity. Yeah. He used those to kind of catapult him into the mainstream and take on projects now like Interstellar, to do things like Inception. So, Michael Bay, I used to love you. I've lost all respect for you. And I'm not even somebody who loves Transformers. You pretty much, some of the comments you read about what this guy's done to the Transformers franchise and how fans of this property, I'm talking, Jerry, people love Transformers like we love TMNT, like you love Masters, like we love Batman. Yeah. You know, like,
not as much as, I don't love Transformers as much as I do TMNT and that kind of stuff. Probably because I grew up like more on Beast Wars and stuff. Yeah. But I love Transformers.
But to see it get to this point, and they've already greenlit the 5th one, and it's going to be directed by Michael Bay, yeah. No, thank you. Please.
Maybe he really just loves this property. I don't know.
I mean, it's hard
destroying it.
Yeah, you love what you love. Yeah. I don't understand Glee, but people love it.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people like this. But
I hear some people make the same argument with the Marvel films. They're like it's the same thing over and over.
Sure.
And I mean,
it's different.
You can't help but like what you like.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, I always tell people, you know, once again with the big Hollywood blockbusters, it's kind of a thing where,
especially,
not everybody goes to the movie every couple weeks. People go for some people go.
This would be one of the 3 or 4 movies they'll see this year,
and they want to see something that's long and has lots of action.
There was a family in front of us. You could tell that they were eagerly anticipating this movie, and they were big Transformers fans.
I need to stop watching movies so I can enjoy these movies more.
Well, let's talk about some of the. You talked about Dinobots being wasted. Let's talk about Galvatron
again. So I just want to go over, there was some cool storylines. There's a storylines of the government against the Transformers. There was a storyline of humans being able to create Transformers. There's a story of the Dark Transformers. The Galvatron is basically a Dark Optimus Prime. There's a Dark Bumblebee called Stinger that was a really cool design. Yeah. There's the fact that Megatron is back. He's Galvatron now.
He's been manipulating the U.S. government this whole time.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and then you have the Bounty Hunter storyline.
That was awesome.
The Dinobots storyline, however small and shoved in. All these storylines, I think, are awesome, but they were just so disjointed.
But there's a point in the film where
the bridge. There's a scene at the end. There's a scene at the end where Optimus tells the other Autobots, hold the bridge. I literally turned to you. I'm like, hold the bridge from who? To do what? And you know what the answer was? I don't know. They never went back to it. Seriously, you want to talk about a disjointed movie? That's literally a scene in the movie. Hold the bridge. I'm like, why are they holding? There's a scene with the Chinese government. There's just a random scene where these Chinese politicians are walking out, and the one guy's sending the army to protect us. The army never shows up. Yeah. At the very end, there's a few planes, but they don't do anything. It's just confusing.
There's a moment that I was going to talk about. That's why I made the joke before spoilers about jumping the ship.
The magnet. How do magnets work? This is a futuristic magnet.
Well, there's this huge ship that is basically become a prison camp for Transformers that this bounty hunter locked
down. There's a ship inside of a ship, and the inside ship is a prison, but the bigger ship isn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
What happens to the other ships?
I don't know, but the point from which Mark Wahlberg's daughter gets abducted with Optimus, and they go up there.
The government
her
almost
boyfriend,
shoots her in the head.
Like, it's just ridiculous. And there's a scene where a giant magnet toward the end is lifting everything up metal and dropping it,
except for the car they're driving in. It's lifting up ships out of the ocean. It's lifting debris off the ground. It's not lifting the car that they're driving in. One of the only things, it's lifting up Transformers and Optimus, but it's not lifting this
And there's
car.
a scene where Stanley Tucci sticks his head out the window. I kid you not. And he yells, "Whoa!"
Which wasn't that bad in the trailer.
Yeah, and then there's
somehow
a scene
worse in context.
where Mark Wahlberg in the same scene in slow-mo, they look at him, he's like, "No."
Oh, man. The whole
Hey, let's talk about something good for a second, Andrew. Let's talk about that death scene, because they had a meaningful death at and then it was kind of after this death that things really fell apart.
Yeah.
They killed the comedic relief, right? It was T.J.
One
Miller.
of the comedic relief. But the early comedic relief.
Yeah, he was funny, but you could tell if it was 3 hours of this. You made the comment.
Yeah, it's one of those characters. It's one of those characters, like in number 2, where his college roommate just followed him throughout the film. And I'm like, this character serves no purpose. There's already other comedic relief characters. I understand wanting to have those in the big blockbuster. In the original Star Wars, you have C-3PO. You know what I mean? Comedic relief characters can serve a purpose. And I understand why having him in there. But why did this college roommate character have to follow him the whole way? And I was afraid that this guy was going to do the same thing. He was funny, and I was like, but he's going to be here for this entire film, following him halfway across the world for no reason. Instead, he's killed. He's killed early on in the film.
Well, he's the one who called the government on him anyway. They felt sad about it, his death. And you're like, well, he died, but
his daughter was like blaming Mark Wahlberg. I'm like, wait, he's the one that called the government and set this whole thing in motion.
You bring up the roommate, though. I think what happened is Jonah Hill was confirmed for that college roommate role.
And thank God he didn't do that.
And backed out at the last second because he thought. I've read interviews where he thought it would hurt his career because at that point he was thinking like Moneyball, Wolf of Wall Street, those type. Like he was still going to do comedy like he does now,
right?
But he didn't think anybody would take him seriously after that. He made the right decision, did he not?
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I think that's why they had an A-list guy because Jonah Hill was coming off of like Superbad and stuff.
But it's such an easy character to write out because he doesn't do anything. Why is he still there?
These writers don't think. But yeah, they waste Galvatron. Apparently he may be the big bad in the next movie.
Yeah, they set him up, but like it was like, wait. He has an army. He has an army of Transformers that can transform in ways that the Transformers themselves have never been allowed to. And they're all dead. What the hell is he going to do?
Well, Galvatron gets out and he leads this army. And it's kind of, oh crap, they're going to fight Galvatron in Beijing. This is a big deal. Yeah. And it never shows Galvatron again during that whole fight until the end. He's like,
running away.
We'll fight another day.
Yeah, later, guys.
And shouldn't he be, I know Megatron.
Come back in 2016 for Transformers 5.
2016. It's just that I know that's
frustrating.
That's Megatron.
It's frustrating. There were so many things that on checkpoints look good, but there's could have been a whole new trilogy that could have actually been good.
Yeah, it really could have been good. But how about some things that just show up, like Optimus Prime's shield? Like, where did he get this shield?
There's a ship full of like this, the same one with the Dinobots.
Okay.
Full of, it used to be. I don't know 100% what this thing is, but it was almost like a Transformers Knights Templar type place. Mm-hmm. And the bounty hunter had this, and it corrupted it, and turned it into a prison. And so that's why there were like these swords and stuff there. Whatever.
Well, he gets this shield, and he can fly all of a sudden.
Well, because you see the sword actually transforms. When he grabs the sword, he actually transforms a little bit.
Okay.
And then he pulls the sword out. So the shield has abilities too. He had a
it's kind of a trope,
and he had a new form, and he had a new form in the third movie.
He always takes new forms. But let's talk about the final scene, not close to the final scene, where the movie is finally at the end of this sprawling 2 hour and 45-minute epic that is Transformers: Age of Extinction. Well, we don't know where they go, but we know where Optimus goes. As they're saying their goodbyes, he blasts into the sky.
You see him flying up towards the sun.
His silhouette in the sky, and he starts a voiceover. But before
freedom is Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
But before he takes off, I'm trying to get through this. Oh, gosh.
Mark Wahlberg says, will we see you again?
Will we see you again? And then he says, look to the stars and you'll see a piece of my soul. Or something like that. Yeah. I'm like, who wrote this?
Yeah, like some
line?
of his lines at the end, I'm like, what does that mean? What are the words he's saying? Like,
Apparently he leaves and he's going to look for his creators, or the creators, I guess the engineers from Prometheus.
I said this, and it's just like Prometheus. The main character is blasting off to find out where the creators are, and I have no idea what the hell I just watched. And that's basically how it felt after both these films. Now, I mean, I did some Prometheus. I would watch Prometheus 5 more times before watching this movie.
So the big question is, will you buy the Blu-ray?
God, no. I'm still... Hey, we should have a contest. If anybody out there wants a used copy of the second Transformers on Blu-ray, and you also want to pay shipping and handling, then win the contest, which Brad will now announce.
I'll send you my copy of Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Wait, no, I'm sending my copy of Revenge of the Fallen.
So we got 2 copies.
No, we got 1 copy. I actually want to revisit that at some point, guys.
Oh
okay, I'm going to marathon all 4 before the 5th one, and we're going to have Transformers Party.
Why would you do that?
I'm done. I'm not watching the 5th one. I'm done.
You'll be
done. I'm done.
You'll be
I'm
there.
done.
Okay.
They would have to do some crazy things to get me back there.
Let me ask you, why do we keep showing up? Because it's not...
I tried to defend myself at the beginning.
Okay.
Mark Wahlberg, the Dinobots, and a reboot is why I showed up. I'm done. All right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me a 3rd time, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm done.
The 5th time, there's no excuse. Why do people... Guys, I got...
People like it. That's why they show up. People like it. That's fine.
That's why? Why do people like it?
People clapped. People
I know that.
laughing at
I
things.
think we kind of said earlier, it's just... if
you like what you like.
If you like what you like, if you
is,
see just a couple movies a year and you're just going in there...
You don't know what good is.
I'm not sure.
I don't want to sound that conceited and say someone doesn't know what good is.
Sure, if you think I'll say it right now. If you think Age of Extinction is a great to epic movie, then you don't know what good is.
So I do not like Armageddon. I think Armageddon.
Okay,
is a
I'll admit
movie.
that's not a great movie, but I
won't admit that. I think Armageddon.
You like it, but you're saying you like it, and you can point out things you like. There are people who.
But
can
this
point
is
out,
ridiculous.
Avatar. I love Avatar.
And I dislike Avatar.
Yeah, I love
but
Avatar.
if you can point out things you like about the movie, then there's.
But it's not just me. It's every critic in America.
That doesn't matter.
Roger Ebert said when number 2 came out. Because I read this article multiple times because you and Evan, I flabbergasted me. But he said if you like this film, if you think this is a good film, talking about the second one, you need to watch more films. You know what I mean? And for some people, they only watch so many things. You know what I mean?
That used to be us at one point.
Sure, it was us at one point.
I only saw the first one.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I've gone back and watched the first one over again. I don't like it as much as the first time I watched it easily.
You just have more perspective.
You do. I've seen some of these other things, but people like this stuff. If they want to like it, fine.
Stuff is nicely.
I have never felt as pretentious as I felt watching that film. Because I was sitting there. I did kind of because I'm sitting there. There's parts where I literally just laughed out loud. I'm not that type of person that does that. And there's parts where I'm like, this is just not good, and people are laughing and clapping
and they're cheering, and I feel bad.
I do feel bad too. You know what I mean? But it's like if that's what you like, that's fine. There's plenty of things that I don't understand. There's music is one thing in particular. Throughout the years I've had friends that are ingrained in music. Either they play their own music or they're like music majors or something like that, and they'll talk about that. I used to date a girl I've dated multiple girls who were like in band and stuff, and they're super. They love it, and I just don't understand. I don't get it.
It resonates with.
Or like sports.
Right.
Like I just sit there and
you're just dumb, Jerry.
I never watched the.
Sure. You watched one Super Bowl, right? The Titans one. Didn't you watch that one because you're from Tennessee?
I probably watched that. Was that years
ago?
I
thought you said you watched the Titans.
Yeah, I probably watched that one.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, it's just some people.
There's nothing wrong.
If you don't, sometimes I bet you most of the people in that audience that we watch is with. If we had the time and the resources in the world and showed them like 100 movies this year, 100 like great movies of varying degree. I'm not talking about just like big artsy films. I'm talking about a lot of movies. And we went back and let them watch that. Maybe they won't like it as much. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll see some of like I would say were better things out there. But like some people, like we've said, that's gonna be they might be the only film they go to see in theaters this year. Especially, like, families who don't follow the movie industry. Some people who may not even know Episode 7's even announced yet. I know people like that.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 7's even a thing. And, like, I don't know. That's just, it's for a different audience. It's kind of like what I said with Sucker Punch. I knew going into Sucker Punch that this was for a different audience. It wasn't for me. I still wanted to see it just to try it.
Sucker Punch better than this.
No, I don't.
I hated Sucker Punch.
I don't know. I liked them about the same. Sucker Punch was okay.
I would watch this again before I'd watch Sucker Punch just because I
thought you just said you like Sucker Punch more.
I do. I like Sucker Punch.
I'm so confused by your statements.
Let me I'm going to clarify.
Please do.
I think Sucker Punch, and I don't like that movie, is a better film. It just didn't resonate with me.
Sure.
Than Transformers 4. But I think I would rewatch Transformers 4 again to laugh out loud. Like, if you wanted to sit me like, hey, Brad, let's watch Transformers 4, and Jerry would sit down and watch it, I would watch it again.
Having some drinks and watch this movie again, I think would be good. Yeah.
Here's the thing with two.
I'm not trying to like, I don't know.
With 2, I just thought it was boring.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at I realize I'm being loud in our podcast. I'm looking at the sound waves.
Speaking of sound
wave.
Turn your radios down. I apologize for my outbursts.
In order to keep this podcast from being as long as the film, let's go ahead. Let's give this a rating. Obviously, Jerry didn't see it, but Andrew, what would you rate it?
I'm gonna give it an eh. Like, I mean, if you like these films,
what would you give the second one? Would you give it crap?
I give it a crap. Not even a half. I give it a full crap. I mean, there were some parts that were all right, but
like the opening scene.
Yeah, the opening scene. I mean, there were parts that were right. I've seen a lot worse films. I give the second one crap. I give this one an eh to an and a half. Honestly,
yeah. See,
I don't know.
An and a half. Woo.
Yeah, I know. Probably an eh. I'm gonna settle on the eh.
I thought about this a long time. Not really. I thought about giving it a half, like not even a full crap.
You've seen worse movies than this. You had to have seen worse movies than this.
But I mean, this is the second worst.
Do we give no score? Do we give 0 points?
No.
Crap is the lowest. If you're doing a half a crap, that's like Gene Beaner and making up her own.
No, half a crap is like 1.
All right,
I didn't know we did that.
I believe half.
Well, we've never had to have done that since we've been doing this.
We do one.
Literally, I have not.
I thought you just didn't get lower.
Our score is really like 1 through 10. With counting like the halves, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so 1 would be or it would be crap and half. Or half a crap. I can't do math. I'm a math major, I can't do math.
The rating system's on the website. We got a tab that explains that. But
yeah, pause this, go look that up.
I will say that
it's one of the tabs at the top. Keep looking.
This is the second worst experience I've had.
Wow.
The worst, seeing a movie in Sucker Punch was bad.
What was the movie you had like drink poured on you or whatever?
Die Hard 4.
At least Die Hard 4 was entertaining.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that was my second time seeing that movie in theaters when that happened. But yeah, that was a bad experience.
Who poured a drink on you?
Adam.
Oh my god!
It was a stranger. It was Adam.
Yeah, one of our friend of the podcast, Adam.
Long time listener.
Yes. Big donator to the Confirmed Epic podcast. But I mean, I would give it a crap. Probably because I actually did enjoy the first 45 minutes, and that was worth, at least a crap. But other than that, I mean, besides Miami Vice, that movie, I believe maybe Michael Mann directed it. Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, it was Michael Mann.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx and the guy, who was it? The guy who was in
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. That's the only movie I've ever got up and walked out, was that Miami Vice. An hour in, I hated that film.
Wow.
And I was excited to see that film.
I've still never walked out.
I think it came out in 2006. But after 2 hours and 10 minutes, we were going out to eat dinner, and I was about to walk out and go pick Jerry up for dinner. Because I honestly...
I do wish you would come, man. Say what you will, I had fun this weekend, and that was part
I
of it.
had fun watching it because it was so bad that there were moments I laughed. If I wouldn't have been in there with Andrew, somebody who I know shares kind of this same bond over this franchise, I would have been miserable.
I wasn't as bored as I was expecting to.
There were 3 times when we looked at each other on cue.
Yeah, on cue. There's just like a line or two where we just... I
just died laughing. So I don't know. I give it a crap though. It's the worst movie I've seen probably since 2000.
It's the worst one I've seen this year.
It's the second worst movie I've ever seen in theaters. In theaters since that I can recall off the top of my head.
Wow.
All right. So, but I will buy it on Blu-ray because I'm a completist. And
oh my god!
Why would you buy it on Blu-ray if you just hate it that
badly? If you want to donate a copy to the Confirmed Epic Podcast
for review,
okay. Let's go ahead and wrap things up. Andrew, do you have any animal facts today?
The Dinobots were barely in that film.
Yeah.
I still understand they were in the North Pole or somewhere, and then they're in the guy's ship. Are these different Dinobots? I'm still confused by that.
I think the beginning was like the creators came there and to our Earth that the dinosaurs.
Oh, I even forgot about that scene.
That the dinosaurs were on. And then something that they did with that ship to terraform the Earth's atmosphere so the Transformers could make it livable.
Yeah.
That created the Dinobots because it transformed the life that was on Earth.
Yeah,
and it transformed some dinosaurs in the Dinobots.
There's an early scene with, again, this is a character who I don't understand why she's in the film. That blonde scientist. You know
she was just there to look pretty. That's it.
But she was barely even there for that. I don't even know who she was. She was a scientist that worked for the company. Who was in a lot of scenes and did like nothing.
What about the scientist that had to be constantly eating? That was pretty.
I still like the idea that wasn't in the script and he just had food on him at the time.
Yeah,
this is a Rainbow Dash scientist, the one that was playing with Rainbow Dash in a scene in the film. But no, like at the beginning of the film, there's a scene in the Arctic or wherever.
It looks like she'll be a prominent
there's frozen Dinobots there, and then they show up on this guy's ship. I'm still not even sure if those are the same guys or not.
Kelsey Grammer was in this movie. He was forgettable.
Kelsey Grammer was in it?
Yeah, he was a big character in the movie. But let me tell you this. I think these films are going to get to the point where if they keep making money, that it will be like, they'll keep making them, but it'll be different actors like each one. Like we may get
I made a joke about Arnold Schwarzenegger being the next one driving a transforming motorcycle.
Oh gosh, I'd have to go watch that one then.
Yeah, you'd have to.
See, that's what I'm afraid is going to happen in the 5th one, is that they're going to somehow drag me back in, but I can't see that happening. I might watch it on like I might rent it one day. I can't see myself going to
I will
movies.
be there.
If they release it in February, but like I mean, has this devolved in the same way that Saw has devolved? I stopped watching Saw after 2.
I saw 3, and that was the end of it.
I didn't even watch
I saw all the Saw movies.
Except I think these are growing more popular, more money.
Well, the Saw movies, they had some rough patches, but they actually ended, I forget, maybe it was the 6th one I kind of enjoyed. It was like a commentary on Obamacare in a way that I actually enjoy. I liked the first 2 Saw movies, and there was
the first one's really good. I thought the first one's really good.
But no, they've gotten worse than the Saw movies ever have. But the difference is, like Jerry said, people got tired of the Saw movies and quit showing up for this. Biggest movie of the year, probably.
We'll see, man.
All right, so that's going to do it for this edition of the Confirmed Epic Podcast. Remember, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, email us at thepicreview@gmail.com. And until next time, we are out.
I'm done. I don't understand what they're doing anymore.
You know you'll go see the 5th one.
I don't want to see the 5th one.
I really want to see the 5th one. We'll get new shirts. We'll get new Transformers shirts. And we can go, maybe we'll go during the day so we won't upset everybody's vision of their most anticipated movie ever, which the 5th one will be for apparently, according to Jerry's logic, everybody in America.
You can hate watch it.
Yeah, so we can hate watch it together.
What if the drive-in gets it? And then
I
you
would
be
be
in
a
your
fun
own
driver.
car, hate watching it.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you'll go. What if it has Unicron? You wouldn't go then? They couldn't sell you? The biggest bad guy in all of Transformers.
Is he the creator? Is he the creator that Optimus is going to go find?
Unicron. Yes, he's the creator.
Could be him.
He comes, planet Earth.
Think about it.
This is your greatest threat. All right.
Jerry, you haven't even seen the second one.
All right, so, okay.
Wait, Jerry, would you go see the fifth one if we went to the drive-in and saw it? It was playing with something else we wanted to see.
It was playing with another movie because I'm probably.
But it's going to be like 3.5 hours
I'm
long.
probably within walking. I'm within walking distance of the drive-in.
It might be too long for a drive-in. They won't have time to show another film.
Yeah, they would. It had to be the only movie. All right, Andrew, what did you say? Freedom is the right
of all sentient beings, and I have the right and the freedom to not see a fifth movie.
But you'll be there.
I'll think about it.